Here's a quick little recording I made. I just want to tell you guys, the images that she made for me, incredible. So I hope you guys enjoy. I sure do enjoy them. Thank you very much. Here we go. Hello and welcome to Fun with Failures, the Neckbeard experience. We have another edition coming your way. We have the continued adventures of Sir Sam the Chessbeard and also Fedora Honda. So without further ado, let's get started. Story number 1, Sir Sam in the fencing competition. Player number 1, Lady Saber. I was 16 at the time, foreign exchange student here for a 2-year program, undergoing cultural shock and suffering chronic cringe pain from the daily interaction with Sam. Player 2 is Sam Spaghetti Breath, the ravioli and the fettuccine, lord of the sandal socks, protector of the ladies, complete lard, wears cargo shorts, Minecraft hoodie, New Balance sneakers, and an Argyle fedora. He reeks like the garbage disposal at an Italian restaurant. Now here's a supporting character. 3. John. Previously identified as a cute boy, slightly taller than Sam, and he and I share a lot of common interest, or at least interested in each other's interest. We're not dating yet, but is heading in that direction. He and his family are from Louisiana, and he speaks passable French with a funny accent, which I make fun of often. AskFred.net is an online registration system used to sign up for fencing tournaments. It's a great tool to see who's going to the tournament and how many fencers will attend. This story takes place the Sunday after Sam's first fencing class at a local tournament. It's a rather large event with a great mix of fencers. Many coaches regularly send email updates to our group with the upcoming tournaments, and Sam was on this list. After a few days of school and a minor cringy run-in with Sam, I'm looking forward to a Sunday of competing for the first time in a long time. It's the first time in America. The Saber event is this afternoon, foil is in the morning, and Epi is in between. I registered on Ask Fred a few days prior. John has expressed his interest in my fencing, so he tagged along to watch this tournament. It's about an hour drive, so we sit in the back seat and we talk crap about our classes. Both he and my host mother don't know much about fencing tournaments, so I'm sharing my knowledge on the subject. Regarding my appearance, I'm almost a polar opposite of how I present myself in practice. I do my hair in loose pigtails, apply eyeliner and blush, generally get dolled up. The makeup I use deals really well with sweat, but it's expensive, so only wear it to tournaments. The purpose here is to look innocent and harmless. It throws off the competition, and I look great in the medal photos. We arrive right on time, as Epi is finishing up and awarding medals. The last competitors are stumbling out, sweaty and gross, grinning like idiots on their victory rush. This tournament is being held in a dusty downstairs dojo. Pretty upscale as far as tournaments go. It smells like fermenting sweat, and vaguely like marinara sauce. I sign in at the registration desk before descending. There he is. Chivalrous Sam is perching atop the bleachers, staring into my soul right across the room. His fedora is covering his massive dried sweat and grease that might have once been hair. Sam hails me with a full arm wave and a tip of the fedora, like he can't quite decide which one will win my lady's heart. He gets to his feet and jog gallops down the bleachers, meeting me halfway. John, who had been walking behind me, draws up to my left.
"Hi, Lady Saber. You look ravishing today."
I'm about to say thanks and move on, but John cuts in.
"Yeah, she does."
In a warm tone of voice, he lays a hand on my elbow. It turns into a Mexican standoff, while these two rooster people suck in their breath and puff their chest out. I shoulder my way past Sam with John beside me. I set my stuff down against the wall, and I warm up with stretches. John sits on the bleachers next to me, and we talk about Sam. I'm not sure if Sam is here to fence, or if he's just staying there another 3 hours to watch me fence. I think he just saw me sign up and he just dropped in. Both prospects are equally discomforting. Sam is still standing in the middle of the room, trying to contain his anger because his chivalry was slighted by some D-bag. His nightly intuition must have indicated that I needed saving from this unchivalrous John, because that's when he joins in our conversation.
"Are you here to fence today?"
"No, I came for aromatherapy."
"Oh, hi, Sam. Yeah, I'm going to do Saber in a bit."
"Cool beans. You look good today. Are you wearing makeup?
Here we go. Yeah?
Indeed, that's a pity. You shouldn't need to. I think natural beauty is the best way to go.
I smile awkwardly and nod, trying to work my way out of my own head. That way I can perform today. Sam opens his mouth to say something when John cuts him short. Sam, Lady Saber is trying to warm up.
John, Lady Saber and I are trying to conversate. Can you please not butt into our conversations? Please?
John shakes his head and looks away. I finish my stretch routine, still a long way from my groove, and I dress into my uniform, while Sam sizes me up. He's making my skin crawl. In most fencing tournaments, there are 2 rounds of competition. The first, called pools. You fence everyone in your pool to get a feeling of how everyone is fencing that day. All the bouts are about 5 points. The pools are distributed so that the players, with the lettered rank, are evenly split among the lower ranked and unmarked fencers. After pools, everyone is seeded into a bracket for direct elimination. These bouts are about 15 points. The losers are knocked out and the winners advance. Since I never played in the tournament before, I had a low ranking. My first opponent I take out without him even landing a hit. Sir Sam is up in the bleachers, and he's cheering me louder than he realizes. It's more obnoxious than enthusiastic, and really cringeworthy, cause he's pretty much the only person cheering. He yells encouragements the whole time like,
"Get him, Lady Saber!"
and,
"Yeah, that's my girl!"
The pattern is the same for the next 4 bouts. It's almost as helpful as a back pocket on a shirt. Finally, the pools are finished. There is some downtime between pools and direct eliminations, while the referees turn the score sheets and everyone is seated. Sir Sam takes his chance to woo my lady. He approaches me looking overly excited, with his fedora in one hand and waving it like a slimy, wriggling fish.
"You fence really well, Lady Saber."
"Thanks, Sam."
"You know, I noticed that John wasn't cheering for you at all. You probably didn't see, but I was the whole time."
"That's because I told him not to, because it's annoying, especially when you're competing." "Yeah, I heard. It's usually better if you don't make so much noise. It can be really distracting on the strip." Sam looks dejected for the moment, before getting visibly mad.
"I was just trying to help. You don't have to be so rude about it because I was just distracting you. I don't have to stay at this tournament all day just for you, Lady Saber. I'm just being nice."
I wish I had a pocket full of cookies to give him, for him being such a nice guy. After enduring this tirade of supreme kindness, it's time for direct eliminations. I'm seated well, so my first few matches are easy. Sir Sam, of course, takes his seat behind me, and he moves seats between bouts, after crossing the room to be constantly sitting behind me, and he cheers with all the gusto of a squealing piglet. I never quite find a rhythm, and I lose the final bout, taking a silver medal and earning a rank of E. Sir Sam is totally thrilled. I don't think he's ever felt more responsible for someone else's victory than in this moment. He shambles toward me going for a hug, which I turn into a handshake, quickly reconsider, and then turn to a fist bump. He shakes his fist vigorously. Keep in mind that I am standing for a medal photo with the other 3 medalists, while all their friends, families, and coaches are taking pictures. The results is a photobomb of Hiroshima proportions, which I would post here in a heartbeat if it didn't involve revealing both our faces. Sam realizes that he made a no-no when he turns to see a flanks of camera phones waiting for his swift exodus. He tries to play it off, removing his fedora in a sweeping bow like, "Hey, I'm a medalist too. Haha, look, I'm with a medal winner in the picture. So funny." He has a cartoonish nervous smile pasted on, which is quickly wiped away as the crowd starts to jeer him out of the shot. He tries to walk away with his pride. He keeps his distance while I remove my uniform and pack up to leave. As I head for the door though, I am intercepted by Sam, much in the way that an actual SAM might intercept a jumbo jet full of orphans.
"Lady Saber, can I ask you a favor?"
Can I refuse? "What is it, Sam?"
"Well, I need a ride home."
"What do you mean? Isn't your mom coming to pick you up? Or are you tired of having her get up into your business?"
"Well, she dropped me off, but I didn't know what time to have her pick me up, so I was just hoping you could give me a ride."
"Ah, very clever, Sam. A very clever ploy indeed. Only a master strategist like yourself could conjure up such a flawless plan to spend time with my lady." "Sorry, Sam, but my car only has room for John and I to sit."
Well, how am I supposed to get home then?
I don't know, Sam, but I can't really help you.
Okay, fine. Guess I'm not deserving of a simple ride home.
What?
Sam, I just told you, there's not enough room in...
Whatever, Lady Saber. Can I just use your phone to call my mom?
I gave him my phone and he makes an exasperated call home. I'm listening to the one-sided dialogue and it sounds like he told his mom in advance that I'd be taking him home. He hangs up and he gives me my phone back with an addition of sweat crust. And he stalks off without another word. John and my host mother and I pile into the car and make our drive home. But don't worry, that is not the last time I've seen or heard of him. Story number 2. Fedora Honda. Fight! This is not a personal story, but it's one I've heard secondhand from a friend. All names have been changed to protect the involved parties. To set the stage, here's the players. Kat, she's my friend. She's tall, redhead, absolutely gorgeous. She's an amazing rock climber, but also super nerdy, and she's a whiz at old arcade-style video games. She is a regular con-goer, and just in general, she's an all-around cool gal, which makes her a prime neckbeard bait. Greasy McBeardson, or GB for short. He's our neckbeard of the day. Let's set the scene now. This is MagFest 2016. Kat is a regular at most cons within a decent distance of our hometown on the East Coast. She, being super into gaming, was logging some hours at the game room. She found a Street Fighter machine and starts playing. Not long after, our greasy star approaches, after apparently creepily watching her play, and asked her if she would mind going a few rounds with him. Of course, he'd go easy on my lady. Her, being a laid-back person she is, shrugs and said, "Whatever, dude, knock yourself out." Sure enough, she crushes him in under a minute. Cue excuses.
Well,
I presume he stuttered.
I was just being easy on you. I didn't want you to feel bad.
He said. Then he went on to say,
I want to play another round.
So, Kat obliges. Cue another embarrassing loss.
Wow, I mean, I haven't really played this in a while. I just gotta get back into the swing of it.
They play another round, another crushing defeat.
There must be something wrong with this machine.
GB is getting frustrated at this point. He starts to sweat. Another round. Loses again. Rinse and repeat. Things continue like this for quite some time. Him making up excuses the whole time. Kat is just stoically taking this guy down. Not once does he acknowledge that she's genuinely better than him. Just greases up the joystick, sweats and stutters, making up excuses along the way. After around 10 or so rounds of humiliation, there's quite a crowd building up. They finish another round. Guess who won? Not GB. When GB turns to Kat, and this is what he says.
So can I get your number?
Yeah, you can have a digit for every round that you won. Cue mic drop and Kat walks away dramatically while GB stutters. Rest in peace, Greasy McBeardson. Story number 3. Deep Tissue. My ladies and gentle sirs, I have a story of a neckbeard for you. This one I ran into about a year and a half ago, who I believe is one of the better examples of the stereotype I've ever had the privilege of knowing. But first, an introduction of some of the others who shared in the honor of basking in his glory. There's Carl, quick-tempered and outspoken. He's usually the person who plans our get-togethers. Bad Luck Brian. We really do call this guy Bad Luck, because anytime something goes wrong, it seems like it's at his expense. If we're roughhousing around a pool, Bad Luck Brian is the one that gets knocked in with the phone in his pocket. We're getting drinks at the bar? The bartender somehow takes 20 minutes to serve him, where we're off enjoying our drinks. Celebrating a birthday? The inebriated birthday boy tries to raise a toast to his compadres, but instead spills the contents of his glass right onto Bad Luck Brian. Then we've got Ariel, a cute redhead that I'm interested in at the time. She's kind of a hippie and is training to be a massage therapist, and she happens to be really into Lord of the Rings and internet culture, so I guess that can be considered beard bait. Helga, Ariel's snarky friend. We have a habit of exchanging quips, especially when Ariel's not paying attention. And the guest of honor, Gary the Neckbeard. Gary is instantly recognizable as a neckbeard, courtesy of his rotund figure, daily uniform of dirty gym shorts, with obscure metal band t-shirts, and of course, the beard. He says a lot of cringy stuff, but his folly lies in his painful lack of self-awareness more than anything else. He's not the vindictive jerk type of Neckbeard, so he does get invited out to stuff. There are others too, but they're just bystanders in this story. My first Gary the Neckbeard story takes place when Carl gets the idea that we should all go out and see Sausage Party. Most of the guys find the movie funny to some degree, but the girls in the group hate the film, and they have no reservations about making the opinion known, much to Carl's annoyance. We shuffle out of the theater to find some grub and drink. The girls are keen to put the memory of the movie behind them. We claim a table, and I end up sitting next to Ariel and Helga, with Gary and Bad Luck Brian sitting across from us. The thing about Gary the Neckbeard is that he comes off as a pretty chill guy, but as soon as miladies appear, he metamorphs into a flailing catastrophe of social ineptitude. With both Ariel and Helga in close proximity, he has that distant, hungry look in his eyes, and I can already see how he's working out in his head how he's gonna seize the attention of miladies. Having seen this situation play out before, I'm expecting to see him do this with all the grace of a peacock having a seizure. Never one to disappoint, he leers across the table as far as he can, and he pointedly asks,
"So, my ladies, what did you think about the food orgy scene in this movie?"
Throwing in a creepy laugh for good measure. He gets a non-committal response, but soldiers on with this conversation topic until he realizes that no one is showing interest. Ariel is now filling me up under the table, because I just got these new pants, and they have a really plushy texture, and she's a sucker for textile comforts. Gary seems not to notice this, and with a fair sex attention slipping through his fingers, he resorts to loudly parroting lines from the movie, in rapid succession in no particular order. By now everyone is conversing among themselves, and no one besides me, can't resist a train wreck, and Helga shoots me a, "Is this guy for real?" look, is paying attention to Gary's antics. Out of nowhere, he pipes up,
"Hey guys, look at this!"
and pounds his meaty fist onto the tines of his fork, catapulting it onto, you guessed it, Bad Luck Brian's face. Bad Luck Brian is startled. His face has a mixture of confusion and surprise, and I lose it laughing like an idiot. Fast forward a month, Ariel and I are officially together. Things are going great, and I become the dedicated test subject. So every week I help her with her homework, knocking out for an hour and a half while she practices her different massage techniques on me. Gary doesn't seem to have gotten the memo on this. One day, Ariel is talking about the different massage techniques that she's learning, one of which is called deep tissue. As soon as she mentions this, Gary starts yelling,
"Deep tissue!"
and looking around expectantly, as he's just landed the "that's what she said" joke of the century. He seems to think that no one heard him, because for the rest of lunch, he continually interrupts people to screech,
"Deep tissue! Deep tissue!"
Carl yells at him that he's annoying, but Gary interprets this as best friends banter and cheerfully continues to badger Ariel. I'm sure there's other stories that I've forgotten. He's done quite a lot. But I do remember that one night we decided to go clubbing. The clubs in SoCal are pretty laid back when it comes to the dress code. But obviously they do have standards. What does Gary decide to wear out? His usual dirty gym shorts, ratty sneakers, and carefully selected specimen from his collection of metal t-shirts. He actually seems a little surprised that he was turned away. Then he briefly considers buying a pair of pants somewhere, until someone tells him that they probably won't let him in anyway. To this day, I still doubt that this guy owns a pair of pants. Last I heard though, he started going to the gym with a mutual friend, so perhaps there is hope that he's on the road to recovery from Neckbeardom. Story number 4, Cousin Beard, the legacy of a leg-bear mama. Okay, so I've been wanting to post here about my second cousin for a while. I never really thought I had enough, but I'll try to live up to the standard. When I was around 13, I moved back to town where I was born. Along with having to get used to a bigger school in a bigger town, I had to get used to distant relatives being everywhere. One particular relative that we'd visit often, and I'd come to have many misadventures with. This would be my second cousin, which I will henceforth call Cousin Beard. My mother and his mother are cousins, and his mom is a complete leg beard, I might add. When my mom found out her cousin lived a few blocks away from where we moved, she decided to visit her several times a month. Now I'm the older brother in my family, and Cousin Beard was younger than both of us. But since my brother and his brother were classmates, they'd always pair together and hang out, while I was left with Cousin Beard. Now the four of us were all into the same pretty nerdy things: Warhammer, Pokemon cards, anime, and what have you. We'll start with Warhammer, because it seems like a common thread here. Cousin Beard had an extensive collection of Warhammer Fantasy, which he showed great pride in showing me. He bragged about how he painted them himself. I later found out that his dad and his brother helped him, almost to the point where he was just choosing the colors and having them do the work. When we first played, he handed me the worst units. Then he took the best of the Empire units, and he absolutely flattened me, and then proceeded to brag about beating me. Now, he wanted to continue this when we faced each other in Pokemon cards, but I've been playing for a while now, so I knew my way around the deck. He handed me a pre-made deck, and he had his deck with high-powered cards. I roundly beat him before he could even use any of his high-powered Pokemon attacks, after which he ran to his mom. He was fighting back tears saying, "He's just trying to beat me." This would happen with several games every time we played. It would end up with him bragging about him winning or throwing a fit. Bear in mind that he would have been 9 years old at the time. Skip forward a few years later, and I was helping younger students with orientation at my high school. We were assigned groups. There was meant to be another student handling the younger students, but they flaked out. So I was sitting in the classroom I was assigned when I looked at the attendance sheet. My blood froze. There was Cousin Beard. The bell rang. I watched as confused and shy younglings walked slowly through the door and timidly took seats. No sign of Cousin Beard yet. I went through the attendance sheet. Only Cousin Beard was missing. I decided to start briefing the students about the few minor things and ask things like what junior high school they came from. I heard a faint exhausted pant, and I looked through the door, and there was Cousin Beard, who although was still beardless, at this point was sporting a triple chin. He looked surprised to me, and I asked him why he was late.
This place is confusing.
It really wasn't. It was literally a giant long slope with parallel buildings, along with big letters on them. It wouldn't have taken him that long to find his way, so I tell him to find a seat. He staggers around, sweating profusely, and sits right across from some young ladies. I wanted to scream at him to move seats, but there was nothing else available. So as I'm talking to the students, I notice him staring at the girls, and they're doing their best not to look at him. I then notice him resting on his arms lying down on the table, trying to subtly twist his body to look at the girls and not be noticed. The girls saw right through it and looked more worried. I decided to let the students talk among themselves. I overheard one of the girls on Cousin Beard's table call him a creep, to which he responded,
"My cousin's a mentor. He can get you in trouble."
That was the last straw. I told him to get up and have some time outside. He got up in a bit of a huff and walked outside. Once I joined him, I explained what he was doing was wrong, and he suddenly loudly snapped back,
"You always hated me."
Taken aback, I shook my head, led him back to the class, pulled a chair to a table facing a wall with some projects on it. Cousin Beard thought it would be fun to get out a pen and start defacing the project. I promptly sent him to the classroom where we were told to send disobedient students. That night, my mom and his were on the phone for about 2 hours, and Cousin Neckbeard was furious. I didn't run into him much at school, but when I did, it was usually unpleasant. He would leer at any girl he walked past. It doesn't matter what we would be talking about, his eyes were always looking elsewhere. The next major thing that happened was when I was out of school for several years and Cousin Beard was 17. By that time, he had grown a mighty red neck beard. I had a job at McDonald's, and Cousin Beard made a habit of showing up and discreetly asking for extra food. One time, he was obviously drunk and he staggered in. He walked up to the counter and blurted out a ridiculously long order, followed by,
"I want 30 packs of chicken nuggets for free."
Leaning in and looking right at me. He leaned in so far I could smell the bourbon on his breath. The manager saw this and I was put on notice for it, even though I had no control over it at all. The last story I can think of happened a few years ago. I was driving Cousin Beard to a job interview. He showed up at my door in khaki cargo shorts that only went down to his ankles, and a nylon tracksuit jacket. This was for a desk job, so everyone else showed up in a collared shirt and dress pants. Most embarrassing thing of all, he had a Naruto hat on. I think he was 23 at this time. Anyway, I'm driving him, and he's playing with the radio. I'm just trying to ignore him, and he tries to pull out a cigarette and smoke it, but I'm not having it. I have a mild case of asthma, and I'm not risking an asthma attack for Cousin Beard, so I threaten to stop the car and make him late for his interview. He relents and puts away the cigarettes. I realize I'm running out of fuel, so I quickly stop at the nearby petrol station, amid protest from Cousin Beard. I rush out, fill up my car. When I get out from paying, I find him leaning against my car smoking the cigarette he threatened to smoke. I asked him what the heck he thought he was doing. I told him that he could burn down the whole place, and he snapped back saying,
No, it's okay. It doesn't blow up like in the movies.
Okay, it doesn't happen like that, but you can burn down the whole place if that cigarette butt hit the petrol. So he threw away the cigarette, with the attendant yelling at him through the speaker, and he hopped in my car. I could feel the weight shifting as he did. Anyway, there you have it, folks. The story of Cousin Beard. Someone I'm actually ashamed to say I'm related to. I have heard from him sporadically through the years. He's asked me to go to concerts with him before, but I'd noped out of there. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for joining me for the Neckbeard experience. Please give me that thumbs up. I want to give a special thanks to all the authors at Reddit. I also wanted to give a shout out to my wife. She's going to start doing narrations, but they're going to be creepy narrations, and I'm going to put it on my creepy channel. I'm going to try to get her to post at least once a week. I've had her do some lines for me in the past. Hope you guys enjoy. So until next time, take very good care of yourselves and have a great day.